Hey everyone, it is Evan here from the Trade Risk on Wednesday, July 11th. We are intraday right now, and this is our trade ideas video. Every Wednesday, we bring you about half a dozen or so trade ideas from our watch list and our partners over at Investors Business Daily. And we're going to kick right off with the first idea here, and it is ATVI. This is Activision Blizzard. And if we zoom in, let's zoom out a bit. Let's go to the weekly chart first. And this is just the big picture perspective here. And you can see this has been in a nice long-term uptrend for multiple years. And we are trading just under the all-time highs. So if we go down to a daily chart now, you can see we've got this nice kind of consolidation, this upper level base here right underneath its prior highs. We did briefly eclipse these levels back here in March of 2018. And then we eventually pulled off, had about a 15% or so correction, and now we have worked our way back up to these old highs. And particularly today, I think is interesting because we have a bit of just a nearly kind of a bullish engulfing bar here in an attempt to close at new recent highs. So I'm going to be paying attention to the close here myself. Of course, I have no positions unless stated otherwise in any of these trade ideas at the time of recording, but it is possible that later today I will take a position in one or more of the trade ideas discussed in this video. So ATVI, potential breakout setup here, nice relative strength with a relatively uncertain market today, and something I'll be paying attention to at the close. Next up, we have a close cousin to ATVI is Electronic Arts. Very similar space here and a very similar pattern. This is also right under its all-time highs. It is attempting to break out today. We have this nice clear all-time high level just made a few weeks ago at the beginning of June, and you can see we are back to challenging it. The pattern's a little bit different. Back in March, for example, we had Activision Blizzard making that new high before it started to correct. This has really just been in a nice kind of uptrend here, making new highs since the May breakout. So we had a longer term base here for the start of 2018. It broke out, had formed another smaller consolidation. It broke out from that, and now it had just this recent correction, and now it's getting back to these prior highs. So EA, for a lot of the same reasons, I like ATVI. This one here is also one that I'll be paying attention to today and this week. Next up, TTWO. So this was a trade idea last week, and this was a position that we did have on. We no longer have this position on. When we got involved in this trade, it was on this day right here. So this is back on the 28th on this nice kind of reversal day, and we took out the prior several day highs. Well, we rode this trade up into the retest of this level here. We got really lucky on Monday the 9th, I think got essentially the top tick selling partial of this trade here right at the open. And it's funny, usually I'm getting the bottom tick on a stop out on a particular day, but this time the luck was in my favor. So we scaled some profits up here, and then we got stopped out of the position later the day, right around 121, I believe. So we captured about a 5 or 6 point gain in this trade, and we're letting the dust settle, and the dust has settled, and this is attempting to make another run. So this was a trade setup last week. You can see the clear level that this is now holding above and making a second move above this 120 level. So it is something, once again, that is back on my radar and something I'll be paying attention to. TTWO. Last up from my list is BIIB. Now, this one here, not quite ready just yet, but I thought this would be an interesting name. I know there are some eyes on this one, but first let's go to a weekly chart here for Biogen, and I think we can see what's going on here. So if we zoom out just a little bit, this has been trapped under this 350 level for really all the way back to 2014. It did get this brief breakout above it in 2015, but it did not last long. It gave it all back, rejected these higher prices here, and it's really been basing out below 350 for the past multiple years. And you can see now As of last week, this had a nice kind of 20% surge back up to this resistance level. And now if we go down to a daily chart, you can see it is back to, figuring out if this is the time where we can start to really get a clean trend and breakout back above 350. At this time, I would say it's not quite ready just yet. It's just a trade idea, trade setup that I'm watching. We do have this clear gap down here under 340 all the way down to 300. Maybe that needs to get filled first, but maybe it doesn't. So if it does hold in here and can start to break higher above 350 and make another attempt at these recent highs, we could get a nice kind of breakout momentum move here for Biogen, as it's been holding under 350 for the past several years, putting the chase on for the bull case now after this recent gap up. So something to pay attention to. It's not something I'm looking at today necessarily for an entry, but I think it's worth watching there if you are a breakout momentum trader or a trend trader looking for those new highs to, to really get into gear. So that is it from my list. I got two other names. This comes from IBD's lists, their leadership list, and then their IBD 50 list. I have links in the description of this video if you want access to them. ALGN, so here is the first trade idea from their setup. And what I like about this is we had kind of this nice orderly pullback. And if we zoom out here, we go to a weekly chart, you can see this thing's just been an absolute monster to the upside. It's trading just under its all-time highs. It had a 3-week pullback. It had a breakout of this recent trend line of this pullback, and now it's kind of figuring out if it can put in a higher low here, or maybe we need to come back and retest these lows. In either case, I would not say today's necessarily the entry day for me either. It's just a name that I'm paying attention to and watching. I like the relative strength. I like the strong leadership it's shown over the past many years now, and I think this would be an interesting higher low spot to look for a trade back up to these prior highs here of around 370. So that is trade number one. Trade idea number two is ABMD. This is also from IBD's list. And again, what we have here is this nice little pullback that has been underway. It's been nice and orderly, and we're seeing some very clear support right above this 400 level. You can see lots of tails around here, and the stock is trying to stabilize, trying to put in some type of higher low here. And again, if we zoom out, you can see this has been an absolute monster trend for the past several years now. We're trading just off of these all-time highs. So ABMD, again, maybe not today as the entry day or the exact ready day, but if we can hold in here, start to break out, maybe a trade back to these prior highs of around 450 is in the card. So something I'll be paying attention to. And of course, at this time, I have no position in this trade or any of those others that we talked about at the time of recording this. So that is all I have for this week's Trade Ideas video. Hopefully you find some of these names helpful. Do your own due diligence. Check those earnings dates. We do have earnings season starting up really tomorrow, I believe, with some of the banks, and then it kicks into gear next week. So double check all those dates, do your homework, and I think that is it. So thanks so much for watching. As always, subscribe to our YouTube channel if you like these videos, and check out the IBD links in the description of this video. I'll see you next time.